so this is my lesson plan, okay? So it's of course in English. So first of all, so you have to start with the writing date, okay? Okay, to write date. Then we have lesson type. So after we have lesson title. And we have also unit, okay, and of course teacher name. Write your name here. So there we have school or school name, and we have class level and class size. That is how many students do you have? Size. And after we have class period. How many hours? Okay. And we have textbook, that is to say, the book that you work with. For example, here I work with Think. So this is for the third level, okay? Okay. So, and of course, the main or the important things in your lesson plan is your objectives, okay? What are they, your objectives by the lesson that you give to your students? For example, here my objectives is, or are, excuse me, students master how to write a letter. Okay, we have an example of how to write it, and how to introduce themselves by writing. Okay, and the last one is knowing about the different kind of weather. Okay, so this is my example. Okay, so first of all, the teacher should wear warm. That is to say, warm out. What is warm up? It depends. Maybe the teacher, okay, asks students about the last lesson, that is to say the revise or the review, and we can also, the teacher can greet, okay, the student. For example, hi students, how are you today? What is our last lessons, etc. So for example here, the presentation. So the teacher introduced himself to the students by talking about himself. So this is an example, because in my objectives I mentioned that my objective is to master how to write a letter and how the students talk about themselves. So the teacher, as a presentation or as a model, presents himself. Okay, the teacher presents a photo, for example. Photos. Which one? For example, here we have two pictures here. Okay. So the teacher, okay, asks the students what they can see, for example. So, and then the student try to elicit different information. For example, what can you see here? Yes, you. We have two photos here. What can you see?
Nothing.
So this is an example. So this is a kind of presentation, okay? And so ask us what the photo about. Students try to guess, okay? For example, what is the topic? Can you guess what is the topic? You.
I'm going to put my classes.
Okay, okay. Try to imagine, try guess. We have just guessing here. Okay. What is the topic? What can you guess? For example, getting to know you. So here, for example, this woman, okay, try to introduce, okay, herself. So here we have an example. So this is a letter, okay, about this woman. Okay, she tries to introduce herself. Okay. Practice. The practice, of course, the students opened, okay, their books at page 4, okay, and then introduced to a letter. So here we have an example of a letter. Okay, of course, the students try to read it individually, okay, one by one. So after that, pre-reading. This is pre-reading. Okay, so the students guess what is the letter is about. Okay, after of course reading, and we have while reading. What is while reading? So the time the students start reading the letter, okay? So students read the letter by get several information. Of course, from this letter we get several information. So they learn how to introduce. So by this letter or by this model, so the students know or learn how to introduce, themselves to the other. For example, hello, my name. Can I, for example, I want to read this letter. Okay. So hi, Paula. My name is Nicola.
ليش الثقة بس؟
You? Try. And of course, try to speak up.
Hi Paula, my name is Nicola and I'd like be your pen pal. I got your name from my teacher, Miss Edward. She lived in Brazil for 3 years and she's a good friend of your mother's. So what would you like to know about me? I'm 15 years old and I live in a small house in Manchester.
Where is it? Where? So Manchester. Yes.
With my mom and my 2 little brothers. They are okay, but they can be anyway. My 2 little.
It's not clear for you? Is it clear?
Clear, but I didn't read it after.
Okay. I think you need your glasses to read.
Yeah.
Okay. Never mind. Okay, try.
Can you continue?
Okay. Do you want to continue? Okay. Let's see. So, my name is Nicola and I'd like to be your pen pal. What is pen pal? It is to say your friend by writing. Of course, you don't see him or her just by writing. You know him or her just by writing. Okay. So, I got your name from my teacher, Miss Edwards. She lived in Brazil for 3 years and she's a good friend of your mother's. So, what would you like to know about me? I'm 15 years old. I live in a small house in Manchester with my mom and my 2 little brothers. They're okay, but they can be annoying sometimes. I go to Blue Coat High School. I quite like school, but my teachers always give us too much homework. I usually do it when I get home from school, but I'm not doing that today. That's because I'm writing to you. I like listening to music and playing games on the computer. I also like playing the guitar. I play in a band with some of my friends. I like sports too. I play volleyball and tennis. I'm in the school tennis team. We usually play matches on Saturday mornings. That's a bit of a problem because I don't really like getting up early at the weekend. But what about you? I hope you will want to write to me. There are lots of questions I want to ask you. Things like, what's life like in Brazil? Do you like your school? What is it like? What's the weather like in the Rio? Have you got a big family? All that sort of stuff to help me get to know you. Miss Edwards says you like surfing, but that's all I know about you. So please write, I'd love to have a Brazilian friend. Best, Nicola. So here we have an example, how to introduce yourself to others, or if you want to introduce, to know about your friends, of course to ask about his or her name, where does he or she live, okay, so this is an extra information. Okay, so this is an example how to write a letter. So this is while reading, that is the students start reading the letter and get information from it. Okay, so post reading, so students practice writing. For example, the teacher asks the student to take this letter as an example and try to write about himself or herself. Okay, so this is post reading. So production, students do exercises. So here we have different exercises in here. Okay, for example, exercise number 2. So we have exercises here. So here exercise, read the letter and complete the form about Nicholas. So of course, after reading, you have to complete these sentences. So in exercise 3, so matches the questions with answers to make mini dialogues. Okay? And exercise 4, we have an extra practice about introducing themselves by modeling the exercise 3. So this is another example of how to introduce yourself, of course, through mini dialogues. Okay, and here we have the weather. So this is the last, the second page. So here the students know different kind of weather. Okay, so we have sunny, warm, humid, freezing. Okay. So, and here in my lesson plan, we have the teacher ask students how to ask about the weather. For example, can you guess how to ask about the weather in English? Can you please give me an example how to ask about the weather?
How is it today?
Okay, for example, or how's the weather? Okay, and what is
It's
it like?
raining today.
It's sunny and it's hot. Okay, so this is my lesson today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your